Expelled college students of Reddit, why are you expelled? Installing Bitcoin miners on all the computers in a video editing lab. I shot a firework out of my in a campus-owned house. For being off campus with a member of the opposite sex without proper supervision. No, seriously. Not me, but happened to a teammate on my rowing team. He got busted for drinking, which isn't an expellable offense. But to get back at the RA that caught him, he slid into a bag, went to the guy's first floor window, and threw it into the RA's room. What made things worse is that the RA had a box fan in the window. The sit hit it and sprayed everywhere in the room. Literally, the sit hit the fan. He was promptly expelled. I spent too much time drinking and not going to class. I was a junior with a 1.6 overall GPA. University said they didn't need my ilk around there and would open my spot for someone who would appreciate it. This got my attention. I went to the dean and talked with him for a couple of hours trying to get back in. He said no, 19 out of 20 of you guys go back to doing the same thing. I told him I would be the exception. He gave me another chance. From then on out it was 4.0 every semester. I finally got my GPA up over 2.5 so I could graduate. I made sure and went back to the dean's office to thank him and tell him that I was that 1 out of 20 that made it. I unintentionally got another student expelled. We were critiquing websites we had built when I noticed one that looked exactly like mine with a few tweaks. I popped open the source and noticed it was a line-for-line copy of my code with a few changes to the CSS. I brought it up to the professor to protect myself in case he noticed them, though I doubt I would have been suspected. Mine was more cohesive. The changes he did make didn't make the site appealing. Anyway, apparently it was his third time plagiarizing after twice you go on trial with the school. If you don't get expelled then, a third time is the nail in the coffin. I went to a private Christian university, and I have a friend who got expelled for supposedly exorcising a demon out of someone in the middle of a wide open courtyard. I went to Stanford, but my roommate and best friend, Bryce, told a professor he had found a stolen answer sheet for a test in our room and that I used it to cheat. I had never seen that sit before in my life. I was expelled 12 credits short of graduation. Then Bryce banged my girlfriend. Now I work in retail tech support. Fucking douchebag. At UCSC a bunch of Porter students were expelled for stealing and cooking a $5,000 koi. Was expelled the first time I went to college, back in the 90s. I remember on orientation day, we walked by the fraternities and my dad got all excited. Walked up to the Phi Kappa Taus, they were pretty cool. Acted all interested in me. I didn't look around anywhere else, hell, I was 17 and very intimidated. I rushed them, and turns out, they were massive party animals. I lived and worked 40 minutes away from school, and had a girlfriend back home, so far, right? I scheduled all my classes at 7 to 11 a.m. It was hard to get up at 5 and drive into school and pay attention in a 1,000-seat lecture hall. So I started to stay at the frat house and blow off my classes. The first semester I got a 0.0. The next, I got a 0.33, 1D, I wasn't the only one expelled from school that year. Me and 4 other guys were competing for the lowest GPA. What a fucking waste. Stupid college is wasted on the young. I went back in my 30s and got my degrees, but I wasted a tremendous amount of time working city jobs for city people. A kid who worked at my dining hall got expelled and presumably arrested for breaking into girls' dorm rooms and watching them sleep. He had been doing it for a while because people were noticing their doors were unlocked in the morning. He got caught when he tickled a girl's feet. She woke up and screamed, her roommate woke up and screamed, we all screamed, and I picked up his shifts. I was expelled from all college residences for stumbling home from the pub, finding an unlocked door in the food hall, taking 3 10-liter tubs of ice cream and going around on a bike blasting greensleeves pretending to be an ice cream truck at 2 a.m. I had a friend who skipped all classes and failed everything because all he wanted to do was play LOL. He got a warning that if he didn't get his grades up he would be suspended for a year. He got suspended. When he went back to the school a year later the same thing happened again. Now he can't go back to that college again. I was making a search engine for our school teacher evaluation page. It absolutely blew up in popularity and a large portion of the school was using it, about 5,000 views per day. Essentially it was like Rate My Professors except it used the evils that they force students to do at the end of the class as data. I also added features that made it more desirable to students. It became so popular that it was showing up on the front page of Google for certain teacher names. Some of those teachers had low ratings and got pissed off and complained. I had unintentionally violated IP laws because the evaluations were under password protections and my site was not. The only reason I didn't get expelled was because the dean of my department had my back. He did research and concluded the information should not have been private in the first place, then sent a public information request to make it so my project did not break the law. I definitely had people asking for my expulsion for a scary amount of time. Currently I'm aware of a group of international students getting expelled from my school. They've been whispering to each other during exams in another language, and as luck would have it my professor happens to speak that language and has been slowly building a case against them without their knowing it. The kids somehow also got the solutions to every homework and exam last semester, which is very similar to what we've been assigned this semester. However, the kids are so fucking lazy they blindly copy whole solutions, not realizing numbers are different, sometimes units are metric and they answer in English, and one problem asked for something completely different than they solved for using the exact procedure to solve last semester's homework. They're absolutely fake and I'm kinda excited to see it. One of them had a 3.75 GPA, was on the verge of being auto-admitted to our MS/BS program. He's probably been cheating his whole college career, we're 2 semesters away from graduation. Plot twist, the advisor to that program is the instructor that is currently building the case against them. So basically that guy is mega fake. Professor is a savage. He's been grading all their homework and exams like everything was fine and one day unleashed a dossier of bit justice to comb. Apparently you can get kicked out for not showing up to class and failing everything. Who knew? When I was in college I got suspended 3 times for bad grades. At one point my GPA was a 1.0. I finally got it together and graduated with a degree in finance, and a few years later went back and got a second bachelor's in accounting. I think my GPA is a 3.2 now. I'm not working in finance or accounting because I can't find a job. I mostly just hate my life now and wish for death. Not me, but a friend, let's call him Ben, was expelled his sophomore year. Ben came from a very conservative Christian family. His father and grandfather were pastors. Ben went to the same religious college they did. That college had strict rules about dressing modestly and fraternization of opposite sexes. If I recall, there were different levels allowed that depended on age/role at school. Ben was caught off campus seeing a movie with a girl. Apparently they should have had a chaperone. I think it was also not the first time he had broken the rules. Ben was promptly expelled. His parents were so upset they sent him on a year-long mission overseas. Wasn't expelled but damn near. Junior year I took an elective class called reading fiction. Cool class, but the teacher was extremely strict and took the class very serious. I'm alright at writing papers, and this class involved heavy writing about writing techniques, symbolism, foreshadowing, ect. We were assigned to read a book that I can't remember the name, but I wasn't into it at all. I struggled to finish it and struggled even more to write a detailed paper on it. I slammed out the minimal page requirement and sources needed. It was not my best work, but it was serviceable. I get an email from the teacher a few days later saying he would like me to come into his office hours. He accused me of plagiarizing certain segments of my paper, which I did not, and was ready to send my case to the dean. Apparently some things I sourced in my paper were done incorrectly, which lead him to believe I straight copy and pasted from the internet. The second hour of office time was him passive-aggressively calling me an idiot. Got expelled myself, second-year medicine student. Came back from a heavy night of drinking, lit up a Marlboro Red and subsequently passed out from the drink. Woke up dazedly to huge hands grabbing me by the scruff of my t-shirt and tossing me from the room and dragging me backwards out the shared flat we had. Firefighters had responded to the multiple phone calls of smoke coming from my window and saved me from death by smoke inhalation. Slept at a friend's house that night. I was a mess, still not fully comprehending what happened. When we went back the next day to collect my belongings and the full room was torched, surprisingly the rest of the house was left intact. I lost everything, and I mean everything. My family's home was 200+ miles away and I had no phone, wallet, clothes. Everything I owned destroyed because of my own stupidity.